spinning. Hello and welcome to the upper deck. I'm Lynn. As you notice, that is not Ciara sitting next to me. That is Chris, who swallowed something the wrong way, and he'll be okay in a minute. Chris from he's the co-host of the New York MLB Talk, a great show. You guys need to subscribe and catch that on all the platforms. And so, Chris, thank you so much for joining at the last minute.
Much no problem. Anytime. I love chatting with you, Lynn. So, I'm always down.
Oh, you're always the best. I always have fun when you're on. And everyone, Ciara will be back next week. She wasn't feeling well when she woke up this morning. It happens to the best of us. Hell, who did wake up feeling well this morning after last night? And I see that the chat is coming in with responses that aren't even real words, like "ugh." I see you, Shana. So let's start as we always do, because Spencer always brings the trivia question of the week.
Oh, no.
And but let me give you Spencer's backstory. And those of you that know Spencer can hear it in his voice. Oh. Yankees fans exhaled nervously when Aaron Judge made a diving catch in right field Friday night in Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium, of course, is the scene where Judge made his renowned catch in right center field, crashing into a gate and severely banging his foot into the base of the wall in 2023. The catch is widely believed to have derailed not only the Yankees' chances of reaching the postseason, but also preventing Judge from reaching 60 or more home runs for the second consecutive year. So the question is, which Dodger hit that infamous line drive that cost us the World Series, the postseason?
Oh my God.
So yeah, this is why Spencer is our historian, because and well, some guesses are coming in hot. I'll confirm at the end of the show when I give the answer. And let me just at the start, Lori checked in. She punched her card, but she can't be here today. So Lori, thanks for coming in and signing the attendance sheet. We'll look for you next week. Scott, good to see you. Absolutely 100%. Supercalifragilistic, absolutely atrocious. There's no doubt about it. I'm wearing my emotional support sweatshirt.
We need it. We all need it.
Because it's so big and comfy. It's usually what I wear when I'm upset. So here we go. Here we are. And Shana, good morning to you. Shana came in with the UGG. Scott, oh, yeah, I'm a big one for managing my expectations, and maybe it's good for our self-care to just assume we're not winning today. But yeah. I really don't want to go face Cleveland having been swept by the Dodgers.
I know. Yeah, we can't get swept, right? But I know tonight Yamamoto goes tonight, so that's not a good, right?
Against Yarbrough, who's been,
he's been great.
Stellar.
He's been great.
Yamamoto, really? Is this where we're at? Yes, it is.
Yes, we are. Yes, this is where we're at.
This is totally where we're at. So, and Jason, you came in with a really good guess. And I'll confirm at the end of the show. Let everyone stew on that just a little bit. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the week for a second, only because we could feel good for a little bit. Remember that time when we swept the California team?
Yes, that felt good. That felt good.
Really good. Yeah, we knocked the halos off the Angels, but that certainly didn't set the stage necessarily for anything.
No,
but
no.
but go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say, at least those games, you know what? We got the good pitching, right? And we got enough offense to win. And you kind of hope that that was going to carry us into the Dodgers series, right? Just as long as you keep the games close, you got a shot. That's the way I look at it. Like the Angels series, we didn't really score a lot of runs, right? We won 3-2, 1-0. And the first game we won 5-1. So, it really wasn't much. Scored 9 runs in 3 games. So that's really not that much. But because the pitching was so good, we ended up getting a win. Now, obviously, we go to the Dodgers. You weren't going to shut them down, right? You weren't going to win games 2-1 against the Dodgers. So your offense has to show up. And unfortunately, they didn't, right? The first game we got enough. The first game we should have won. We were talking about it before. That's a game we should have won. I mean, with Fried on the mound with a lead, you're like, oh, we got this game, right? But Fried had a bad start. We can't kill the guy for his first bad start all season, right? We're almost into June.
Oh, but everyone on Twitter thinks it was fine to do because they were lighting him up in the most clown fashion. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because this guy is do I even have to say how lucky we are to have Fried? Oh. And you know what? He tanked on Friday night. He still has a 1.97 ERA for crying out loud. What are we doing here?
I know. And it was, listen, and yesterday, all right, we gave up 18 runs, and Reyes was in there pitching in the last inning. But listen, someone else has to do some damage offensively other than Judge, right? Yesterday we got 7 hits. 3 of them were Judge, and 2 of those 3 were home runs, but they were solo home runs. So obviously we weren't going to win yesterday's game. So I'm not really complaining, but the offense outside of Judge has to get going.
And that was the whole problem Friday night, and most definitely Saturday, last night. And just quickly, some of our usuals have run in, so I want to say hey to Jared and FJ and Lou, and Lou's responding to both Jared and Jason, who said to FJ and Jason, who said that the Angels had swept the Dodgers,
right?
And so then you're like, okay, if we let's have a mathematical SAT question for a minute. If the Angels swept the Dodgers and the Yankees swept the Angels, who is the next to sweep who?
Right. Now the Dodgers are going to sweep us, maybe.
Yep. I wouldn't get to college with my guess.
Right.
If this was
you know how you explain that? You say it. That's baseball, Susan, right? Because that's how it happens. A team gets hot, team gets cold, like that, like within a series sometimes. So it's going to happen. But now the Yankees got to find a way to bounce back after these horrible first 2 losses, right? The first loss was to me, it was a worse loss than game 2. Game 2 was just, all right, we got blown out, whatever. The first game, we had the game in our hands. When you have a lead with your best pitcher on the mound, and then your best pitcher gives the bullpen the lead as well, you kind of expect a victory there, right? I don't care who you're playing. So I don't know. So that was, to me, more frustrating than the second game.
Yeah, I mean, they both really sucked. But I think it was most painful, I would agree, Friday night. And in some ways for me, because I felt for Fried. And again, postseason, doing the accountability thing, but we gotta get. I hope everyone forgets it, and they will, because he'll remind them who he really is. These clowns on the internet.
You can't pay attention to them.
No,
because.
But they piss me off.
One bad start is not going to derail a season. It's not going to derail this season either. It's for the team. It's just one bad start. Every starting pitcher has it,
Right.
It happens.
Chris, either you're putting it in the chat. Is that you in the
No,
chat?
no, that's probably
It's our friend Rob Maraska.
that's it. That's my
Good to
great
see you.
co-host, Mr. Rob Maraska. Exactly. He's putting it in.
Yeah, co-host of New York MLB
Joining
Talk. You
us.
guys got to check that out. All right, so let's just talk about Fried's line that night. So the guy only pitched 75 pitches, so that tells me, since he went 5+, that he was being really economical with his pitches, and yet he was also getting hit really fast, so he didn't have to throw many.
Right.
So, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, really low for Fried, and 2 home runs. So, but he threw 47 strikes, and like I said, even better. 1.92. I had said 197 before.
And you know what? And it looked like in that game, all right, he gave up a run in the first, a run in the second. Then it looked like he settled in, right? The next couple of innings, he, put up a couple of zeros up on the board. And I thought, all right, now he's going to be Max Fried. And then he, got into that one bad inning in the 6th inning, and he just couldn't get out of it. But also the bullpen didn't get the job done, right? Loizaga came in, didn't get it done. Tim Hill walked the run in. He didn't get it done. And then they brought in De Los Santos, who I don't know why they're bringing him in a tight game, but that didn't make sense to me. I would have brought in like Devin Williams, one of the Ian Hamilton, one of those guys to just kind of keep it where it was. Not that it wouldn't have mattered anyway, but still,
yeah,
I don't know. That was a little. We could question Boone on that one. I know everybody loves to question Boone. I get it. Everybody's killing Boone for these losses, but it's like, no, you can't blame a manager for the way that the players are playing, right? They got to get the job done. They're playing, they're pitching, they're hitting, they're fielding. It's on them. It's not on Boone.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. Even with Fried tanking the way that he did, the guys just didn't step up and step in.
Right.
You mentioned the bullpen, but even as the game was getting away from Fried, there was plenty of time, and they did what they always do. Like, they were like, okay, it's all right, we got it. We're the comeback kids. That's what we always say about them, right? Don't sweat it, because they always come back and win. But they did not produce offensively either. So
right.
It's just everyone got frozen, because what the hell? Fried doesn't do this.
And then they carried it over into the second game, right?
And you would think they'd come into Saturday even more juiced to do what they had to do. And well, we know how that turned out. It is pretty cool that Judge and Ohtani made history together as 2 current MLB MVPs that hit home runs in the first inning of a game together.
That's pretty cool. But
so it's cool, but I don't want to see those 2 together in any other way.
No, the next time I want to see him is in the World Series, to be honest. That's it. That's the next time I want to see the Dodgers, is in the World Series rematch, and this time we got to get them. But I hope with these losses, right, with this series against the Dodgers, it proves one thing, that the Dodgers are the better team. I'll admit that now. Every Yankee fan should admit that they're the better team. That doesn't mean we're a bad team. That doesn't mean we're not still the best team, I think, in the American League. And we should be the favorite to get back to the World Series. But this series proved that the Dodgers are the better team. The Dodgers were playing without a ton of their pitchers, right? I think 13, 14 guys on the IL. Mookie Betts was out the first 2 games. I think he's going to be out tonight too. So they're playing without one of their best players. I mean, we are too, let's be honest. But they are the better team. And I think, let's hope, and I think we've said it before, I'm sure, is that Cashman has to wake up and say, okay, I have to add to this team. Like, we can't go into the playoffs with whoever at third. Like, if Jazz is going to play third, okay, whoever's playing second right now is not going to work, whether it's DJ,
Peraza,
Reyes, Vivas, whoever you want to name. They're all horrible. So we need another bat there. With Stanton coming back is going to help us. And Jazz, yes, but we need another, especially right-handed bat. It has to happen. So Cashman better be on that phone and working the phones and getting to somebody.
And I have some stuff to say about Jazz a little bit later on, but I'm going to start a new segment this week. Sierra doesn't even know about it.
Uh-oh.
It's called the Snark Shot of the Week. And this is very snarky of me, but I'm gonna do it.
Oh boy.
Here it is.
Come on. How is this even possible? Like, there's no. Did he really say this?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Come on. He can't be serious saying that.
But he did. And okay, so the only way I ever would agree with John Smoltz on anything is the fact that, yes, he's certainly a better pitcher than you are, first ballot Hall of Famer pitcher, John Smoltz. I would agree with that. But get the frig out of here. What do you think of this, Chris?
Okay, this is really stupid. He's a good pitcher. When he does pitch, he's a good pitcher. But here, let's kind of put it out there. He has pitched in 86 games in his career. 86. And he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He's one of the best pitchers in the history of the game. He's thrown 86. He's thrown in 86 pitches. 86 games, excuse me. 481 and 2/3 innings pitched. That's one of the best pitchers in the game. In history? In the history of the game?
In the history of the game.
Come on. You could say, listen, he's one of the greatest players. Yeah, because he's shown he could pitch as an ace and he could also hit, but he's not one of the best pitchers in the history of the game. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's not.
Yeah, and I wonder if Schmaltz compares the distances between mound and home plate in every stadium the way he does plate to outfield wall the way he does. There's this poll going around X yesterday about how long it would take for him to mention the short porch in Yankee Stadium. It wasn't that long.
Right.
And so, come on. I mean, first of all, I go on mute whenever I have to deal with that. I just can't. But this is so irresponsible to say. Yeah. And you know, I guess that'll be his first ballot choice. Then good on that.
Oh, but trust me. Yeah.
There's no way in hell that Ohtani at this point, and with the numbers you already put down, Chris, I mean, it's young in his career, but he'd be going in as a hitter, not as a pitcher.
He's going to go, listen, if he doesn't pitch again, what he's done already in his career as a pitcher and a hitter, that's going to get him in the Hall of Fame as this, this unbelievable two-way player that we just don't see, right? I mean, the last player to do something like this was Babe Ruth. That shows you how rare it is. But that doesn't mean he's one of the best pitchers in the history of the game.
Right.
I mean, come on. It's one of the best players. I'll give you that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But, let's toss IKF into this conversation then. He was a pitcher that one night.
Yeah, that's right. That one night. Right.
And he got through it. Like,
yeah, there you go. Give him a lot of credit. He's one of the best pitchers in the game. One inning, he gave up no runs, so he's got a 0 ERA. He's got the best ERA ever.
Do you know how many Yankee greats and MLB greats of pitchers are laughing their ass off wherever they are? I can't wait for CC's opinion on this. And even Coney in the booth, I hope this comes up. Anyway. But how do you like our new segment, guys? It made me feel good because
there you go. That is perfect. I just don't understand it. Listen, if this guy's been pitching, even if he's been pitching since day one and no hitting, I mean, you're still going to put him in there if he's pitched 5-6 years? He's only been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4. He's been in the league 5 years. Right? Because 1 year he was out for the injury. But he's played in 5 seasons. I'm sorry, 6.
Yeah. Right. So
I'm sorry, 8 years. This is his 8th year. I'm sorry. I was looking at his playoff totals. He's played in 8 seasons total. And you're already putting this guy in as the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the history of baseball? Come on.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
Especially with the
I'm sorry.
numbers you put down. It's a relative small sampling of his career,
Right.
the time he's been on the mound. And
Yeah.
they're still saying they're not sure when he's going to go back to pitching, probably soon, allegedly, right? So, come on. It's not going to last much longer
No.
to begin with. But apparently he's going in the Hall of Fame for it. So there's that.
You may as well put him in tomorrow. Put him
you
in
know
this
what?
year. Let him go in this year in August when when the ceremony's in for this year. Put him in too. You may as well.
No, don't even wait for that. Like, how about we decide, oh, we'll not play today. Just give us the win and get him inducted today instead.
Right. We're shutting down. Listen,
yeah.
we're shutting down baseball for the day. Nobody plays. We're going to honor one of the best pitchers in the game.
Oh, there's too many fun things in the chat, some of which I can't put on the screen because the language is a little questionable.
Yes.
And we're a family show. But yeah, Karen, I want what Smoltz was drinking. Yeah, definitely. So good to see you, Karen. Good to see you, Dev. I saw you sneaking in there. Let's hand him his statue. Yeah, I'm sure that Smoltz will be a good candidate for the presentation on that. Anyway, enough time on him, but I had to get that off my chest. So thanks for letting me do that. All right, so we're going to shift to some hot topics, and usually so hot topics just because these are really, to me, important for us, especially in this point in time, to talk about. So let's remember that the Yankees have a 35-22 win-loss record. They've swept four teams.
Pretty good.
And by the way, those four teams are not in our division. So, and the reason I'm making that a point is because on the broadcast last night, and I've heard it in a few other booths, the Yankees are only in first place because our division sucks, That's the only reason.
That's the only reason why, I know.
Right. It's not about having MLB's best hitter on our team, having like one of the highest team averages, and all the comparisons in the data between the Dodgers and the Yankees. It has nothing to do about that, right? So, but let's remember, and 4 sweeps, all right, we want a little bit more sweeps, but but we're at the win-loss percentage that we need to have the averages we have. So let's remember who we are. We will complain, and we should complain, and we need to complain so that we don't get indigestion. But let's just say that we're still, and it's young in the season, and I hear you, Jared. Yeah, Jared. Jared was like, I was saying, I was about to say, I hear you, Jared. I hear that sarcasm. And thank you for confirming that was sarcasm, because he's like, yeah, that's mediocre at best. I mean, listen, so
right now, as we're speaking, right, the Yankees they have the second best record in the American League. And if they were in the National League, they would have the 5th best record. So listen, are they the best team? No one's saying that. But to me, I still think they're the best team in the American League. They're a couple of games behind Detroit right now. Detroit is not exactly in the toughest division, right? I mean, they got Cleveland, Chicago, right? They got Minnesota and KC. Like, oh, that's a tougher, record, tougher division. Right now, the American League is definitely weaker than the National League. I don't think anybody could argue, argue against that, right? So, yeah, we get it. The Yankees are in the American League, but they also are the best team in the league right now.
Right.
But as we've seen this weekend and also last year in the World Series, listen, the Dodgers are the better team. That doesn't mean we can't beat them in a World Series, in a 7-game series. We've seen it. The favorite doesn't always win. But the Yankees have to get better, right? They do. We've seen it. Like we see it every day, throwing out what we're throwing out there at second and third is a joke. It's a joke what's going on. Absolutely. So they got to improve.
Absolutely. And when you look at what you just said, Chris, because I have it in front of me, you also have to remember the difference in games played. right? So let's look at the Dodgers. They're 64 and 37. Yankees are 60 and 39. Who's played more games
Right.
in total? The Dodgers, correct?
Yep.
So statistically, I'm not going to go into statistics. I hate them anyway. But
Right.
they've had more chances to do that. We're a bit behind in that. So you could interpret this in ways that make you feel better, and that's what I'm choosing to do.
There you go. And that's what but that's what you got to do on June 1st, right? We're not like,
yes.
It's not the end of the season. We still got to get through the trade deadline and on what moves this team is going to make, because they're going to make moves. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people think.
It is
Cashman is going to make moves. There's no way we're going to go into, the second half of the season or the playoffs with, Vivas or Peraza or DJ at second base. It's not going to happen. No. Those three guys, I'm going to be surprised if two of them are still on the roster come August 1st. Because Vivas is going to get sent down as soon as Jazz is active, right? Vivas will probably get sent down because he's the only one that has options. So it'll stay like that until they make a bigger move for another right-handed bat, especially second and third. So that's what's going to happen.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a month that will hopefully bring us some happiness and comfort.
Yeah.
They have to make moves before the trade deadline. And if they don't, we shall rally with our torches and megaphones to the stadium we go.
Moves are going to be made. I would be shocked if Cashman don't make moves this year, because you know what? How many more, like the way Judge is playing, how many more years are we going to see this? I mean, batting 400 is ridiculous. It is unbelievable what this guy's doing. How many more years do we have like Judge at his prime, at his top best, right? Because he is starting to get up there in age, right? I mean, you hate to say it, he's not the young guy anymore. He's 33, I mean, how many more years, right? Are we going to get Aaron Judge as Aaron Judge? There's going to be a year where he starts to tail off, and guess what? People are going to actually complain about Judge. I hate to say that, but we're going to hear it. You know it, right? We see it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And, with Stanton coming back, it gives Judge even less of an opportunity to DH, which I think he's been given like maybe 2 DH spots.
Yeah, he hasn't DH much. Yeah.
No, I really wasn't being my typical over exaggerating self. I said that. Yeah. And everyone's wondering why, Judge was exhausted by the playoffs, because he carries the team through the whole season.
He does.
Mentally and physically. Absolutely. But let me say something else about Aaron Judge, because it's redundant to put him in Hot Topics. It's redundant to put him in Hero of the Week. It's redundant to put him in who's hot, who's not, all our usuals, right? But let me just tell you that he surpassed Ruth again. If you guys didn't see this, so now Judge now has the highest BABIP in a season since 1901.
That's crazy.
So batting average with balls in play. And let me tell you who he is now on top of. And this is all teams, but Judge in 2025 is 467. Ruth in 1923 was at 423. So Ruth has held the record since 1923.
Unbelievable.
Judge has just surpassed it. And then behind him are guys in the earlier 20s. So you know that guy, George Sisler, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good old George. But I think the name Rogers, Hornsby, and Ty Cobbs would be recognizable to everyone.
Oh, here, just look at Judge's numbers. Look at his career numbers. Look at all the bolds. I'm going to put it up, okay? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Look at all those. Look at all the bold. Where is it? Is that coming up? No.
Oh, you might not be able to.
Oh, maybe not.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, why is it? Okay. I thought it was going to show. All right. Well, anyway, what he's doing this year and what he's done already is like ridiculous, right? It's still like MVP every year. And we talked about the trivia question in 2023. That should have been an MVP season. He was on the way there. I mean, he should have won it in 2017. Let's not get it. That's a whole other discussion why he didn't win it that year, because they gave it to Altuve. But I mean, listen, Judge is Judge, but there's going to be a time where someone else has to step up. Last year he had Soto with him, right? And Soto did. We loved him for it. He was stepping up all the time. He had a great season. Somebody else has to do it this year. Who is it? It could be more than one guy. It doesn't have to be the same guy every week like Soto was last year. Somebody has to step up. So, and I don't think it's, like it could be Stanton one week. It could be, Bellinger one week. It could be Goldschmidt. Right. I mean, all these guys, just somebody has to help them.
Yeah.
Somebody has to help them.
And at the moment, it's really Grisham who's been the most clutch and consistent. I know you got the nod there, but
well, he's starting to tail off a little bit, but no, but
yeah,
right.
But he has great. Been until now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone tailed off the past.
Right, yeah, no, definitely. He's been great. I'm not complaining. He's still at 255, Yeah. Still okay. 13 homers.
It doesn't seem so great when you have Mr. 401,
Right, yeah, it's like, what? Right.
But here's my concern with all the things you said about Judge, though. First of all, I wasn't aware that he was 33. I guess I was ignoring that. But we're seeing more home run to me, and I don't have the numbers, but I hope he's not pulling for power all the time anymore.
Yeah.
Because we need him healthy. We don't need any lat strains or any elbow issues or anything like that. So
yeah,
he's been so much more present in the small ball end of things the past few seasons, and I'm glad to see. Thank God for the home runs, but I hope he, in the ways that he can take a step back. I don't know. I just worry about what he's doing to his body.
Listen, at some point he's going to be probably the DH, the everyday DH, right? But not unfortunately, but Stanton is here for a couple more seasons after this, right? Unless they eat his contract, which I don't see that happening. So, but I think eventually there's going to be a day where Judge takes over as the everyday DH, or maybe he ends up playing first base. That's another possibility too. But yeah, he's not going to be in right field for many. I would say in 2 years he'll be either first base or DH more than the outfield. Because we got to start taking care of this guy's body. You want this guy to be around for his whole contract. We don't want him good for 2 more years. We want him good for 7 more years or 8 more, as long as we can.
Right. And Lord knows the Yankees will never eat his contract.
Right. No.
So, but it's all going to depend on which Stanton we get back, right? I don't think you're right. I think you're right that they won't eat his contract. But how about taking a little nibble and a snack with TJ's contract at some point?
Oh, I think that's coming. I do.
Yeah, I think it's coming, and we'll open up some purse.
I think last year he was going to get cut after they picked up Jazz, but supposedly I think I don't know if this is official, but supposedly Judge went in and a few of the other veterans fought for DJ to stay on the team. Otherwise, he was going to get cut last year. So I think this year we might see him get cut because, I mean, what is he doing? Unfortunately, and I love DJ, and I'm sure you do too. Yeah. I remember how great he was his first few years here. But you know what? His body is just, Father Time is undefeated. We know that, Lynn. Unfortunately, we both know that too well. But Father Time is undefeated, even for a world-class athlete like baseball players. Mm-hmm. It catches up, and Father Time has caught him.
Listen, Father Time is like sitting on my shoulder and it hurts. Yes. So, and DJ, in all fairness, has come back okay, but not DJ, and not what we need, and not enough. Right. But I have to say, my expectations were really low, and he's meeting my very low expectations, at least. Yeah. And Karen, we're that next man up mentality. That's what they need, and they don't have right now. So I absolutely agree with that. And Jared, Yeah, thank you. I mentioned at the top, so let me say it for everyone that joined in. Sierra's fine, but she woke up not feeling well this morning. So she'll definitely be back next week, everybody. Thanks. I'll let her know that you were asking for her. So Chris, did other than someone named Judge,
Right.
is there anyone that you think was particularly hot this week?
This week?
Yeah. Was there a
Um,
standout for you?
I don't know. This week? I mean, the pitching's been great up until the Dodgers series. The pitching
Yeah.
was great in against the Angels. We can't ask for better pitching than that, right? So I would
Yeah.
say the entire pitching staff was great, and up until this series, the pitching has been great. Even before the Angel series, they've been really well. So, and on the offensive side, like I know people complain about Volpe, but you know what? He's still right now second in RBIs on the team. So he does listen, he's not hitting as much as we'd like to see him, and I'm sure we could all complain, but he also gets big hits when the time comes, right? So I'm not going to totally complain about Volpe. He's still young. He's still not, and he's not like the top 4 or 5 batters in the lineup. He's the second part of, he's the second half of the lineup. So if he gives you 250, 260 batting average, but he drives in the runs when you need him to, I think we could live with it, and he's got a good glove at short. So I try not to complain about him too much, but
Okay. I think that's fair. And by the way, I didn't mention we have a third option. It's hot, not, or meh. So just say meh, but it's okay. I think that Volpe was a concern and still a little bit of a concern of mine with his glove. Still, like, by now, shouldn't you be master of the short hop? And so for example. And yeah, he's not at the top, top 5 of the lineup, but I personally like him in the bottom of the order, because of exactly what you just said.
yeah,
He can get on base, and even if he doesn't hit, hard or well, he's fast enough to make it to first if there's any possible shot at it.
yeah,
And then he's setting up for, he's not ninth, and I wouldn't want him to be ninth in the order, but other guys get on base. He himself is a sure
right.
thing for getting an RBI for somebody instead of being the one to get the RBIs. So he's still a value to the team. So
He's definitely a value. He's second in WAR. I know nobody likes to go with WAR, but he's second on the team to Judge in WAR. He's second to Judge in RBIs right now.
okay.
I mean, he's not awful. So,
Yeah.
and I think he's on the lower end of the things we have to worry about on the Yankees. That's
Yeah.
that's my point of view. Like,
Yeah.
we can live with him, but we got to get better. Definitely got to get better at the other infield positions, right? And not
Mhm.
first base, but second and third, right? Has to get better. And hopefully with Jazz is coming back probably within a couple of days. I would say by the end of the
Yep.
week, he'll be back. That's
Yep.
going to help us out big time. But we're still going to have that black hole somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's second or third, wherever. I think Jazz will be coming back at third, right? Because that's what he's been working on
Yeah.
in
It'll be a
rehab.
third.
So whoever's at second is a black hole, whether it's
Right.
DJ, Peraza. I mean, these guys are just, they can't even hit their weight right now, which is,
And
it's embarrassing.
and none of them are what you want, as Joe Girardi says. So it's not
Yeah,
what you want.
right.
None of
It's
that.
not what you want, but
And
it's right out there in front of us, as Boone would say.
well, don't you dare put Boone in the same breath as my Girardi.
It's not
and,
what you want.
and Karen, you're absolutely right. Volpe is undisciplined at the plate. It makes me nuts, and not just with Volpe. Why are you swinging at the first pitch?
Yeah.
There's very few players that can do that intelligently with a payoff. Even Judge does it, and it bothers me.
Yep.
You get 4 chances, possibly, right? Possibly 5.
especially when the pitcher is walking guys before you.
Yes.
Like, he's wild. I guess here's the mentality of the batter, right? If you're getting up there with, okay, this guy has just walked the last two guys, right? He's wild or whatever. So you're going up there thinking, okay, if he's going to throw, he's going to try his best to throw a strike right down the plate to get to get some kind of momentum going, right? So his mentality is like, okay, he's going to throw a meatball right over the plate and I'm going to smash it. Unfortunately, like you said, not everybody could do that, right? He's not Aaron Judge. So take the pitch, take it. Let the guy get, if he's wild, let him throw balls all day. I'll take the walk.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Get glasses and read the pitches better.
There you go. There you go.
And Lou, I'm giving Lou an award. It's called the best backhanded compliment of the week. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Volpe does great against mediocre teams.
Hey, he was good in the playoffs last year, right? Let's give him that much credit. Wasn't he good in the playoffs and in the World Series? Did we forget about that already?
It's interesting. Usually,
I hate defending him, but
what? Say that again.
I said he was good in the playoffs last year and in the World Series, right? So let's give him a little bit of credit. I don't like defending these guys too much, but yeah, he was good in the playoffs. And I think, and here's the other problem too with Volpe, right? Let's be honest. It starts from the beginning when he was first drafted, kid from Jersey, local kid, loved Jeter. He went to Vanderbilt, all this stuff, first round draft pick. He was actually picked in front of Gunnar Henderson. So all this like, oh, he should be, if he was drafted in front of Gunnar Henderson, he should be better than that guy. Right. So all of the expectations were put on top of him before he even got here. Before he got here, he was the next Derek Jeter. Right. Yes. And nobody, I'm telling you right now, we're never going to see another Derek Jeter. We're never going to see a guy, 3,600 hits, 5 World Series rings. We're not going to see that again.
No, you're never going to see a pitcher like Ohtani.
Right. That too. That's right. See?
Go ahead.
See, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Go ahead with your point. I couldn't.
That's okay. No, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I hated people say, "Oh, he's the next Derek Jeter." No, he's not the next Jeter. He's the next Yankees shortstop. Let's keep it at there. And wherever he goes, wherever he becomes, if he becomes an all-star, whether he's average or that's a good way to say it. If that's what he's going to be, that's what he's going to be. But he's not going to be the next Derek Jeter. So I hate when people say, "Oh, he was supposed to be." No, he wasn't.
No, he absolutely was not. And you're a young, impressionable kid. That's going to get in your head. Yeah, and that that's not fair to anyone, especially he was a shiny new pet. Was he growing a beard when he came?
Maybe.
He still doesn't have one. He can have one now.
I don't think he could. I still don't think he's able to.
I don't think so either.
Listen, there's a lot of pressure on anybody coming in to play for the Yankees, right? Especially shortstop, because he's got to be the next Derek Jeter. Remember, we'll go back a few years. Remember when Didi first took over? If we remember, his first couple of months were a disaster. If I don't know if anybody remembers that, but Didi was a disaster his first month or two.
Yep.
Right? And he was getting booed. We're like, oh God, this guy sucks. But then what happens? He turns it around, and he's one of the more beloved Yankees we've had in the past 10 years, right?
Raise your hand if you cried when we lost him. I did. He was beloved.
Yeah.
And hold my beer. Just for context, because I don't think you were here at the start. This is almost completely tongue in cheek, and here's why.
Yeah. I'm praising him too. I said he's one of the greatest players we're ever going to see because of what he's done. But he's not one of the best pitchers in the history of the game. I'm sorry. No. You're
right. And no. that's why we were joking about it. We weren't really dissing Ohtani. We were dissing Smoltz. And I know that's not how his name is pronounced.
I love that name. That's the best name ever.
Look up Schmaltz in the dictionary, everybody. Okay, so, and hey, Frank, good to see you. As Lynn says, need to temper their expectations. Thank you, Frank. Volpe isn't what they bought into, so now they're mad. Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? same thing happened to Ben Rice.
Right.
Ben Rice was hot when he came, and they didn't liken him to anybody per se, but then it was like, oh, get him out of here, get him. Look who he is a year later, everybody, so
Right.
yeah, we really need to slow our roll, but we never will. It's just who we are. And I find it interesting, this chat, usually when we talk about, who was hot this week, crickets, because they're like, well, they already talked about Judge. I don't have anyone else.
Oh, Goldschmidt's been hot, right?
Goldie has been absolutely hot.
He's been a lot better than anybody expected. When we signed him, everybody was complaining, oh my God, why did we sign this guy? He's old. He's going to be another, Rizzo and blah, 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 blah. And look how good he's been. So
that's right.
Zip it.
Exactly. And they really shouldn't have even compared him to Rizzo, because he, for all the reasons you just said, he's not he's not a new Rizzo. Rizzo would have been the new Goldie. I mean, Goldie has gold gloves galore and was a superstar. So,
and you know what? You got to give the guy a shot, right? We got to just give him a shot, right? He might have sucked up until now, but you know what? He hasn't. He's been playing great ball. Guy was a former MVP. So that's a guy you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe he's got something left in the tank, and maybe putting on the pinstripes gets a little bit of that out of the tank, right? And that's what happens a lot in base. Sometimes it goes the other way. We've seen it go the complete opposite, where a guy just can't play in New York, right? We every year we see it. Devin Williams was showing us that for a little bit, but he seems to be getting better. But we see it all the time where you put the pinstripes on, it's like, oh, I'm on the Yankees, and you get that boost. Look what happened with Soto last year, right?
Yeah,
he had his best year of his career.
That's right. Here. Yeah, exactly. And and I think he'll get back to those kind of numbers. Where he is. But
Soto is Soto.
Soto is Soto. And speaking of Soto, that's who Volpe needed to learn from in terms of patience at the plate.
Yes.
And we saw it when we played against them recently. He will just yawn and wait until he likes what he's seeing. And he did have quite a few base on balls when they played us. And hold my bear, Rizzo was just outdated, but Goldie is as old, if not older than Rizzo. And it's been, and there's one of the reasons I'm like, why?
Right.
It's
and now 1 year deal.
Yeah. And now
that was my thing.
What?
That was my thing. It's a 1 year deal for Goldschmidt. So it's like, it's not the end of the world. It's not like we signed him to a multi-year deal where if it stinks, he's going to be bad for a couple of years. If he was going to be bad this year, all right, we suck it up. It's 1 year. And guess what? We got Ben Rice now. He could have took over if that happened, but thank God it didn't. Now we've got too many guys at first base now, right? With him, with Stanton returning. Ben Rice is going to have to play some first base to get some at bats too.
Yep. And I find myself wanting them to extend a year on Goldschmidt at this point.
It's possible. I didn't think we'd say that.
Because you know what? We haven't talked about Austin Wells at all. And
he's been meh, right?
He's been very, very meh.
Oh, very meh. Okay. I was trying to be nice. You're like very meh.
Yeah. Like I think the burritos went to his head and he forgot like everything else. So put Rice behind the plate. If they have
to. He came up as a catcher, Ben
Rice.
Exactly.
And Escara
been okay.
Has been okay. And producing at the plate when we've seen him. And so Lou, we definitely need a stronger arm. Something did change with Wells with his pop rate and his location, but I'm more thinking Wells, the hitter. Wells, I could say Wells, the runner-up rookie of the year. And look what happens.
You were saying meh so much with Wells that it was coming out. No.
That's what it is. That's why you're my friend. So you mentioned Chisholm. So let's go right to that. Let's go with the injury report. And
I'm looking at the picture, like he's like
I
pointing at his
know.
elbow, like
I
this hurts. This right here hurts.
That's there specifically for Stanton.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It was.
I can't swing a bat.
Look, if I'm nothing else, I'm corny. Sorry.
That's okay.
So all good news really when it comes to the IL. So like we said a couple of different ways already. So Chisholm's doing rehab in Somerset. He went 2 for 3 this weekend and playing third base there. So to your point, Chris, that's what they're getting him ready for. And June 3rd is his possible activation date.
Okay.
So you're spot on with that if that's how it works out. So we didn't talk about Fernando Cruz at all. I think we've been really missing him in the pen.
Yes.
And so he's throwing bullpen sessions. He had live bullpen on Saturday, and they're thinking that he might be activated during the next homestand, which is this week.
That's great.
So that would be great.
Guys that nobody really has been talking about too much, but you got Jake Cousins coming back, right?
Yep.
Remember how good he was last year? He's coming back soon. And another guy nobody's talking about is JT Brubaker, right? We signed him from, I think it was Pittsburgh. He's a starter, so I don't know what they're going to do with him. They could trade him, or they could trade one of their guys and put him into the rotation, right? The good thing with the Yankees right now is they have the ability to make moves one way or the other, whether it's, just bringing these guys up and then working from there or making trades. So there's going to be moves coming. Without a doubt, there's moves coming. So for the people who are not confident that Cashman's going to make moves, it's going to happen. Right. It's just a matter of, are they going to be the right ones? Are they going to be good enough to put us over the Dodgers? That's going to be the big thing.
We do not want the Kmart blue light special.
No. Yeah, no dumpster diving this year.
None.
Go big. Go big or go home, as we always say, right?
Unacceptable, because this series that we're in right now was going to be our predictor for how we would do if it happens again in October. Yep. And It's not looking pretty.
And let's hope the powers to be with Cashman and Steinbrenner says, whoa, we're not that good. Like, we might be good in the American League, but the National League is way better than us, and we have to get better. So I just hope that this slap in the face, slap of reality is going to hit Cashman. It's going to hit Steinbrenner. It's going to say, all right, guys, we got to make some moves here. Yeah, we got some pretty good guys coming up, but they're not going to put us over the top. We're going to need other guys to put us over the top. We're going to need another second baseman, a right-handed bat, somebody. We need something. So let's hope it happens.
We need a lot of things, and they need to be bright and shiny.
Yes, exactly.
So Cruz is also expected to be activated in this next homestand. Awesome. So we definitely need him back. I'm a Cruz supporter.
Me too.
Stanton is taking, as you know, live at bats and sim games, and the sim games are including some running. No joking. No joking in the chat.
A little running, a little bit. No. Not much. We can't make him run too much. I like that, little running.
Yeah, he's running better with his skinnier legs. Come on.
Yeah.
And so and Heel's another bright spot. So,
right. He's eventually coming back. He's another one, right? Yeah, I think more second half of the season, right? Because even if he starts, rehab and starts pitching in rehab games, like he had no spring training this year, right? So he's gonna have to probably rehab for a month, probably 5, 6, 7 starts, I would think. I don't know. They got to build him up.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because I cut and pasted, I plagiarized right from the Yankees report. So he threw 15 pitches on Friday. He has a schedule of more bullpen sessions and live bullpens. Okay. So, but they're not mentioning rehab yet then. But they're saying possible return June or early July.
Let's say,
but manager expectations after the All-Star break.
Half.
Yeah, like after this All-Star break is what I call the second half, right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yep, I'm with you.
Yep. Okay. No comings, no goings. So, let's just go to what's next. And try not to laugh.
Try not to.
Try not to laugh.
All right.
Wait. Oh, no, wait.
Oh,
I didn't put it on a slide. So, Chris, why don't you tell us with a straight face what the pitching matchup is today?
Yamamoto versus Yarborough, right?
Yarbrough.
Yarborough.
I know.
Okay.
That's how I remember it because I've been saying it wrong. Yarbrough.
Okay, so we know who we're talking about, so that's the good thing. Yeah, and Yamamoto, who's been really good. So yeah, it's gonna be it's not looking good tonight, but listen, I thought we were gonna at least take that first game. I thought that first game was the really important game because you had Fried going. You know, the matchup was working in our favor there, and it didn't work out. And then last night, it just didn't get away, just got away from us quickly. I'm just hoping that this is a much better game. If Yarborough could keep it close, I'll be happy. Just keep it close. And then maybe somebody other than Judge will wake up and give us some offense. Maybe.
Definitely.
That's all we can ask for. Right?
Say it into existence.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for.
On the slide that I forgot to put in the package.
That's all right.
Here's a little shiny bit of good news. Here's the comparison in the last three appearances. 2.25 ERA for Yarbrough and 2.37 ERA for Yamamoto.
Okay.
So let's just think about the past three appearances, can we?
Yeah.
And they're evenly.
I like that.
Let's just focus on that, and that Yarbrough is a tad better than Yamamoto.
That's all we can ask for.
We won't look at the season overall, which is where Yarbrough is 306 and Yamamoto is 197. So,
and then on the flip side, Yamamoto's only start against us last year. He did go 7 innings, gave up only 2 hits, no runs, walked 2, struck out 7.
And we won.
Oh, we won the game. Okay.
Did we?
I didn't even look at that.
No, that was a rhetorical question.
Oh, no. Well, we only lost 2-1. That was at Yankee Stadium.
Okay. All right.
Not horrible, right?
It would have been a better story if we had won.
Yeah.
But okay, but we could certainly do better than that. We could at least go extra innings. It can happen. Maybe the clubhouse is pissed off enough. I don't know.
I hope so. And Yarborough, for stat wise, has never pitched against the Dodgers.
Right. Well, and so neither had Warren.
Right.
Right.
So maybe it'll be better this time.
Yeah. So when Warren was posted as the pitcher yesterday, I said, "Is this where we are?" And that's no discredit to Warren because he's been excellent.
Yeah, he has
excellent.
That was a tough spot for him. That was a tough spot.
It was just too much too soon for
nationally televised game. It's on Fox, so it's I get it, and it's the Dodgers in LA. And when I'm sure as a kid. As a young pitcher like him, I'm sure he's looking around in the crowd and he sees all the famous people that are just hanging out there. So it is what it is.
Yeah. And so same thing for Yarbrough. It's you're laughing now.
Yeah. He's been around though.
Yeah, Yarbrough. He has, but this is a like to your point. This is this is the big
World
stage.
Series champs. Yep.
So, all right, and then coming up, we're back home. Thank Lord. And it's the Guardians and the Red Sox. And so, I'm going to give my usual reminder about the Guardians. We cannot sleep on them.
Right.
We cannot ever, because they get us every time.
Yep.
And it is critical that we win that series. I'm not even asking for a sweep. I'm managing my expectations. We better take that
Just 2 out of 3.
Just 2 out of 3. It ain't bad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, hey.
I think I've heard that before.
Hey. I better write that down.
Yeah.
So because we have to go into Boston puffed up and ready to show up.
Yeah.
We gotta take Boston, and I know they're not our biggest contender right now, but you know why. I don't have to explain why.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the for those of you that weren't at the beginning. So Spencer's question was all about, last year, or 2 years ago, you all remember at Dodger Stadium and that gate thing, and him breaking or really damaging his foot. He was out for weeks and it felt like years. Judge was chasing after a line drive at that point when he crashed into the right center field gate, severely injuring his foot. Which Dodger hit that infamous line drive? And I hope Jason is still here because he got it correctly.
Yep.
Does anyone else know?
He's a former Met, former Red Sox, former D-back, former Tiger.
You're good, Chris. Crickets in the chat. Okay. And so the Dodger that hit that infamous line drive was I did that just for effect. I meant to do that.
J.D. Martinez.
J.D. Martinez, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how Spencer just knows these things.
It's unbelievable. I had to look that up, so
yeah,
to see who hit it.
Yeah, so that was the answer. Congratulations, Jason. You said it right away. If you're still with us, congratulations.
Yep.
So Chris, what's up next for your shows?
We'll probably be on Monday. We usually yeah, Mondays and Fridays are our usual shows. Definitely look us up. We usually come on about 3:00 on Monday. Friday, where we might try a night show instead of the 3:00 show. So we'll see. We might jump around there, but definitely, if you guys can, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button for us. Go find us, NYMLB Talk. Hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Otherwise, just come on and just check us out. We always have special guests. We just had on Frank the Tank Fleming from Barstool. Everybody knows him, right? Wow. He's the guy that has those big outbursts usually about the Mets losing or whatever. So everybody knows Frank the Tank. That was a pretty good episode. He was kind of on the timid side. So maybe because he was on a different show, but it was still a cool show.
Wow.
I love Frank. Yeah, Frank the Tank is great. So that's the one thing. We do have special guests. Check out some of our older shows. They got some great guests on there too. So, but yeah, hit that subscribe button for us would be great.
I'm going to catch Frank the Tank. That's for sure.
Yes.
Good job getting those guests, and good job for me getting you as my guest today, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I love coming on here. You know that. So anytime
I do,
I'm in.
I do, and I love to have you here. Always such a great chat. Sierra will be back next week. Don't forget to like us. Don't love us even. Subscribe, and sharing is caring. And as always, you'll always have a reserved seat right here on the upper deck. And for crying out loud, go Yankees!
Yes. Hopefully.
Take care, everyone.